Welcome to day number 7 of December's mental health tips. Today we are talking about embracing emotional freedom. That is the tip. Today's tip is you are not responsible for anyone's feelings. If you are setting a boundary for yourself, whether it's social or relational, if you are having a need, if you need to do something for your own self-care, your own mental health, you are not responsible for how that impacts someone else's feelings. Everyone is responsible for their own feelings. Now, let me be clear. This does not mean you get to be an ass and then say, well, I'm not responsible for how I made them feel. No, that is not what I'm talking about. You are responsible for being kind and being present. Right? Your responsibility is in however you're going to communicate what your needs are, that you are doing it with kindness. Right? And even in a way that does consider other people, but that also considers you first so that you have enough to give throughout this entire holiday season. So the tip is for you to be able to communicate what your needs are and knowing that other people may have an emotional response and to hold on inside of yourself that I'm not responsible for this. You may need to communicate more with that person and say, here's an example. This might make some of you have an anxiety attack. Let's say you are going to your parents for a holiday and you just determine that staying at their house, it's just too much. It's too chaotic. The kids get too crazy. The relational aspect is too difficult. Whatever it is, you've stayed there your whole life. And this year you're saying, you know what? I'm going to stay at a hotel. That's what I want to do for me or for me and my family. And you communicate that to your family. You communicate that to your mother, right? You might imagine that mom might have an emotion about that. But as long as you are genuinely doing it kindly and you're doing it in a way that you are taking care of what your needs are so that you can show up more lovingly and more present for your mom when you are there, you're not responsible for your mother's reaction. All right, I feel like I just asked you to bench press 1,000 pounds if you're resonating with this one. Here's the thing, maybe this year in that example, maybe that's not something you could do. Maybe that feels like it's too big. But what I want you to be aware of is even if you can't take on the behavior that you want to take on because you are too worried about what other people feel like, and so you just continue to manage other people's feelings, that's not something you change overnight. Right? So I get that. But so if you can't set the boundary and not feel responsible for other people's feelings, what I at least want to ask you to do is to be aware of the situations where you are trying to take care of someone else's feelings. Even if nothing changes within you, where is it coming up? And then that can show you where you might need to do a little bit of self-compassion work, where you might need to do a little bit of healing. You might need to do a little bit of processing if you don't want to be in the pattern of having to stay at your mom's house every single year and you really would rather get a hotel in this example, right? If that is your truth, then eventually you're going to need to do that work to be able to communicate that without feeling responsible for your mother's feelings. It's a big ask, I know that. So either if you're able to do it, awesome. If you're not able to do it, at least be aware of the scenarios where you're not able to do it and let that fuel what it is in you that might be needing some attention. All right, we'll see you tomorrow.